MSNBC takes you behind the walls of America's most notorious prisons into a world of chaos and danger. Now, the scenes you've never seen. Lock Up Raw. In prison as on the outside,
we got something in common.
A single decision can change a person's life forever.
The violence and the killing and just sense the you know what I mean?
And we've seen inmates make all kinds of fateful choices.
I threatened them, yeah. Okay. I threatened their families.
I ain't come here for friends.
It's personal between him and her.
Will you have this woman to thy wedded wife so long as you both shall live?
Yes. But behind bars, there is no escaping the consequences of one's actions. A prison is like a city within a city. Not a city most people would ever choose to live in, but each prison we visit develops its own unique culture. A place where the residents establish an unwritten set of do's and don'ts, even while paying their own dues to society.
We've seen plenty of inmates in prison do things that are not in their best interest, and that list is pretty long. But every once in a while, we meet an inmate who stands out for making really bad decisions.
We were with Timothy Schreiber on his first day at the Lyman Correctional Facility in Colorado.
I have 7 months to do, so I don't know what's going to happen after that, but I'm going to segregation, 23-hour lockdown.
He was nearing parole on a 6-year sentence for sexual assault and had just transferred in from another Colorado prison.
I just happened to be down there filming the new inmates coming in. And Timothy Schreiber immediately said he wanted to be part of the show.
MSNBC, anytime you need me, I'll be here.
And within a very short period of time, did something that was so shocking to me, I couldn't believe it.
I am a sex offender. I'm a violent sexual predator.
He very loudly started proclaiming himself as a sexual predator.
An attempted sexual assault on a 13-year-old girl.
Having a sex offense in prison, in some prisons it's tantamount to a death sentence, but in almost any prison facility, you are going to be harmed if you are a known sex offender.
I have a history of repeated flashing. I'm like a serial flasher.
Schreiber could be heard throughout the administrative segregation block, and it infuriated his neighbors.
I've never flashed anyone younger than 13, but I have a predilection for 13 to like 18, somewhere in the danger zone.
Schreiber was just getting started. Over the next several weeks, he seemingly raised the ire of inmates and staff alike.
These fools don't see that I'm the management problem of the century.
We eventually came to learn that Schreiber's behavior was his way of trying to stay in the prison segregation unit, a place most inmates are sent as a punishment.
Yeah, friends can see me now.
But to Schreiber, it was a safe haven, keeping him in solitary confinement away from other inmates. At one point, we set up a camera outside his cell, pressed the record button, and left him alone to share any of his thoughts. And he outlined his plan.
There's no way I'm going into general population and risking getting my ass kicked. Coming out of prison, you know, maimed, crippled, disfigured, broken arms, broken legs, maybe even stabbed or killed. Wasn't gonna risk that. So I says to myself, I'm gonna make sure I try to check in. And that's where you just break the rules as much as you can to get, you know, write-ups so that you get put in segregation.
Schreiber's campaign resulted in more conflicts than we were able to show in the Lyman Extended Stay series, including this one with prison counselor Anton Evans.
Basically, I'm going to go over a few things and then...
Did you get my kite? That's what I want to know. Did you get my kite last night, or did they just throw that away?
No, I haven't received any kite.
Oh, really? I wrote you a kite from the hole last night. You didn't get it?
No. What was it about?
It was about my situation.
Evans was attempting to conduct an orientation interview with Schreiber prior to his move to general population.
To tell you the truth, I might resort to some craziness to get what I want.
Okay.
I mean, some craziness.
I'm just a case manager. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do. as
You
far
know?
as that.
How long have you been a case manager?
About 4 years.
Okay, that's quite long enough. So anyway, that's what happens with this.
It's quite long enough for what? I'm kind of curious about that.
I just thought you were brand new to the job. You acted like, what am I supposed to do about you, you know?
Schreiber went on to tell Evans that a specific group of Lyman inmates had it out for him.
They told me they're gonna write all of their friends from whatever cell houses they're in. They're gonna write their friends and tell them about me, and basically have my ass sanctioned, either assaulted or stabbed or killed or whatever.
Did they just see you and decide that you were the guy that they were going to write all their friends about?
No, I was the guy that I was the guy in there that they were talking. Okay,
Did you provoke them in any way?
This is what happened. They kept talking to me, and then I started talking back to them, and I threatened them. Yeah,
okay,
I threatened their damn families. Even I'm not going to follow through with it, but I threatened them because that strikes terror in the heart of an inmate.
Your expectations after threatening
I have no expectations.
Other offenders,
no, I have
convicts, is that they're going to say, oh, well, he's set me straight, now I'm scared, I'm not going to ever bother him again?
Of course not, man. I didn't know, though, that I was going to be moved from segregation in the hole to this freaking unit here. That too.
You thought after that they were going to put you in a hotel?
No, I thought they would add seg me. That's what I thought. No, I didn't think they would.
Your objective is to get ad seg.
You know, you throw me to population and some sticks me, then, dude, I'm coming back on you all like a tiger.
Okay.
I'm gonna take you to court and I'm gonna sue the out of you.
I really don't have to do this. So at this point, I'm gonna put him back in his house because I really don't need to talk to you.
I'll shut up, man. How about that? How about if I can shut up? Let's get this over with.
Let's do this tomorrow. It's better for
here
me.
right now.
I'm not really in the mood right now.
I don't care.
All right, let's go back.
Do what you want. You're the boss, man.
I can't let him come in and dictate how my interview's gonna go, and I won't do that. At some point, I've got to do what's best for me, and what was best for me was to end the interview.
Schreiber's stay in general population didn't last long. He was caught with a razor knife and sent back to administrative segregation, where he'd wanted to stay all along. But it came with a price he never expected.
So they decided to call him up to the deputy warden's office and have a talk with him. We, the camera crew, knew the severity of the situation. Timothy didn't. So he kind of went bopping up there like he usually did, very secure in the knowledge he was going back to ADSEG. And he sat down in this office, and then everybody calmly proceeded to tell him that, in fact, his sentence was probably going to be increased because of the fact this was the umpteenth time they found a shank in his cell, and they were going to impose new charges on him.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you right now, if I get criminal charges off of finding a big razor in my cell, I'm not going to be doing that time. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be doing that time.
Well, I'm here to tell you that you're going to end up.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to kill myself if I go in and get criminal charges on this. That's what I'm telling you right now in front of these cameras.
Months after we left Lyman, Schreiber was in fact convicted on the additional charges and received another 2-year sentence.
Any of you out there that are doing like I did, like exposing yourself, God forbid you mess around with a female under 18 in Colorado, you get caught for it, you can go away for life.
Coming up, asking for trouble again and again.
Why didn't y'all just go ahead and put me in seg today instead of finding?
When we first met Sandra Culbertson out on the yard of the Tennessee Prison for Women, we immediately recognized that she had a flair for the dramatic.
I seen her from across the campus, much like the sunset like that, and I run while they were shooting big bean bags from the top of the roofs. Come now! Missed it by her. I kept running.
She's insane.
Here comes another beanbag. Kabla! Boom! Oh, and it hit me in the back and I fell in her arms and it was love. Love.
God.
Culbertson was serving 3 years for aggravated assault. Though she claims it was in self-defense, she stabbed another woman during a fight, puncturing her lung.
Well, it was just a lung. You know, she's got two. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal was I could have killed her just by one stab wound. Thank God I didn't.
Sandra is a very kind-hearted, wonderful person. A little bit hillbilly-ish, you know, but hell, we're in Tennessee, right? I love her to death. She's a great person.
But we came to discover that Culbertson was also the type of inmate who would constantly challenge the correctional staff.
You know you got too distant. You know what's gonna happen if you get that phone.
During our stay, she would pay some dues for her behavior.
Because everybody, including the staff, knew what she was doing, and the same attention that she was getting from the other inmates, she was also getting that attention from the staff.
I ain't gonna play y'all games.
There was some pain behind those eyes. You could see it, which perhaps led to anger with all the rules and the fact that she wasn't in control.
Either take the rod out of my ass or just stick it on in.
All right. Y'all ready?
During our stay at Tennessee, Culbertson's disciplinary write-ups played a major role in her being denied parole.
To recommend she be granted parole at this time would have an adverse effect on the institutional discipline. Ms. Culbertson, I'm going to recommend you do the decline balance of your sentence. Thank you. You have a good day.
3 days later, Culbertson received a new disciplinary write-up.
They charged me with disrespect. I was in church. I had my arm on the chair and a girl touched my arm, and it's disrespect. I disrespected the chaplain. She's homophobic. So.
What's the worst case?
They're gonna me.
What does that mean?
You see that building right there? I'm gonna go lock down. It's a jail within a jail. Segregation. So this kind of stuff is what took my parole. You know, stupidity. Stupid stuff. I'm guilty of it, I guess.
I started meeting Miss Culbertson in December. So within that time, I've met her maybe about once a month since then.
See this lady? Fear her.
And how are you pleading on your disrespect?
Not guilty.
So what you're saying, you didn't have your arm around her at all?
No.
Okay.
Well, yes, I did. Not at the time that all this... In the beginning, I did. And then I moved over a seat. So there was an empty chair on each side of me. So nothing could be said.
The officer who witnessed the scene was called to testify.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm hearing Culbertson's disciplinary concerning disrespect that was written up when she was in the chapel.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give me some information on it?
Well, I was down in the chapel, and I was sitting on the other side of the church. The lady was up preaching or whatever, talking or doing whatever she does. And she pointed them out, saying that you're not going to do this in church, which I didn't see what they was actually doing. But I guess she had her arm extended around Corbin minutes or 30 minutes later. She was like, you're not going to keep disrespecting me.
Okay, thank you.
20 minutes later, Culbertson got the bad news.
I find you guilty with the preponderance of evidence.
Rather than going straight to the segregation unit, Culbertson was given a break and put on a 60-day probation period.
So the question is, can you be good, follow the rules for 60 days?
I don't know. I'll try. It's a toss of a coin.
We didn't have to wait long to find out. Minutes after leaving the disciplinary hearing, Culbertson was served with another write-up, this time for refusal to obey an officer earlier that morning.
Our Franklin is going to serve you a formal discipline.
For what?
Just, he'll read it to you now.
Why didn't y'all just go ahead and put me in SEG day instead of finding
Culbertson?
Ms. Culbertson, you have
your
the right.
charges first.
At approximately 7:20 a.m. while conducting Medline in Maine Medical, inmate Sandra Culbertson, number 443193, walked into the dental office without permission. Officer Kenneth Shout told inmate Culberson twice to stop and come back to Medline, and she did not comply. Therefore, inmate Culberson, number 443193, is being charged with refusal of a direct order.
You officers need to get on the same page with the people that work in medical and stay off my ass. Because all these write-ups is what this is about, me wanting medical help.
Okay, Miss Culberson, we're here for security, they're here for medical. Here's your copy.
You're here to my life, that's what you're here for.
The thing about Sandra that I noticed, and in my opinion, was she had a tendency to blame everybody else for her situation.
Let's break it on down. The bull.
Using profanity.
As Culberson walked back to her cell, our cameras caught her temper flaring again. This time, it was aimed at her escort officer.
I told him he wasn't no better than us convicts.
What is she doing now? Is she still going off? Is she creating a disturbance? Give her a formal disciplinary for disrespect. Okay. She got another one.
3 back-to-back write-ups did little to curb Culberson's temper.
I'm gay, and I'm getting punished for being gay and having medical problems. It ain't right. So.
A bunch of y'all, you ain't the only gay person here.
But I'm being punished for being gay.
No.
Yes.
Punished
because I'm gay.
No, for breaking the rules.
No.
That's what you gotta come to understand.
No.
Before the week was out, Culberson chalked up yet another infraction.
I gotta go back. I got another write-up.
What happened?
I done this.
Within days, Culberson was in front of the disciplinary board again.
Okay, how you plead on the disrespect?
Not guilty.
How you plead on the refusal of direct order?
Not guilty. And I got really tore up about this one because I got you to give me a chance, and before I even got outside to breathe, I was being hit with more write-ups. So I was kind of upset.
But being upset is not a good enough defense to keep Culberson out of ADSEG.
The board found you guilty. I think I told you last time you came through with another disrespect, I was gonna make that a Class B. I'm gonna give you 20 days to serve.
That's up.
Where you going? You can't go nowhere. Sit down, Miss Culberson.
I think given Sandra's nature and given everything we'd seen, we were all anticipating some kind of crazy reaction from her.
Instead, Culberson put on a brave face before going to segregation.
It sucks, but you know what? They'll never know it, because I'll ride the hell out of it. I think it might be the problem. They ain't got me down yet. Almost.
Up next.
I believe that some people should be stabbed.
An inmate known for trouble finds a soft spot for one of our producers.
I love her. I do, I swear to God.
Come on, Dave.
Prior to meeting Tim Duncan, we were told he was a hardcore inmate who lived by his own rules at one of the most hardcore prisons we had ever visited.
I'm Timmy Duncan, a.k.a. Turtle. I've always represented. I've always fought for what's white and what's right with our people. You know, and I believe in stabbings. I believe that some people should be stabbed. You know, child molesters, rapists, and all that. We have to live by a set of standards in prison. It would be a free-for-all if we didn't.
Duncan was serving 28 years for home invasion, kidnapping, and robbery at California State Prison, Corcoran. It was the culmination of a criminal career that began at a very young age.
I came from a good home. I can't say that I had a bad childhood. I just got mixed up with the wrong people. I started committing petty crimes when I was a kid because I actually did get strung out on heroin. My first shot was probably when I was 10 or 11 years old.
Duncan had spent most of his life incarcerated. In that time, he developed a reputation as an inmate to fear.
These are some weapons that they say they discovered in a cell that I once occupied. Allegedly. Myself personally, I'm a nice guy and I don't believe in violence. No, that's a damn lie.
It was my responsibility on the yard to ensure that, one, our people were not harmed by another race. I took care of the drug debts if one of our people became delinquent in a drug debt to another race, it was my responsibility to either cover their drug debt or have them stabbed. In which case, we would send one of ours to stab them.
Duncan's loyalty to his gang was also inked into his skin.
My stomach, I have a warbird. These lightning bolts mean something, and if they were solid, that meant that there was a kill, that you actually killed the victim. Being shaded in like that, that means that I did put in a racial stabbing, but it wasn't a kill, and it wasn't from lack of trying on my part.
Duncan's tattoos weren't only about gang life. Some were about his love life.
A couple of wives' names up here. Charlene, that was a prison employee, wife on, my first wife that passed away. And then I went through a couple different relationships. And, I actually have a girlfriend in Chowchilla that's doing multiple life sentences for murder. She committed Fresno County's largest mass murder in history. That was my second. Yeah, that's sad, I know.
Okay.
I could just go on and on and on, but I don't want to,
Before long, Duncan made it clear that his interests were turning toward a new woman.
During the course of the time we were filming him, he became a little fixated on me. He kind of developed a little romantic interest, I guess.
Here comes the lady of the hour. I love her. I do, I swear to God.
So the more I would try to talk to Tim about how things played out in prison, he would just kind of keep bringing it back to something personal. Do you have a killer mentality?
No, absolutely not. I would kill somebody if they tried to harm you or somebody I love. You know what I mean?
Asking me about my personal life, wanting to know if the length of time he was going to be in prison was too long for me to wait.
What year is this? 2008? I got about 12 years left. Right around there. It's forever. Does that sound like forever to you?
I did let Tim know that I was only there to cover life at the prison and that a relationship was not a possibility. He took it very well, and we were able to complete our story.
Duncan went on to tell us that in reality, he was not at all optimistic about ever pursuing a life on the outside.
I don't ever expect to get out. I figure I'm washed up for the rest of my life and I'm done. So this is my home, this is where I live, and I try to be as comfortable as I can. I try not to think about dying in prison, but in the back of my mind, it's there. I mean, what am I going to do? I accept full responsibility for my fate. I don't blame nobody. I'm here because I did what I did. Nobody else.
Coming up.
The death of our brother Luke recalls the brevity of our lives on earth.
A funeral and a wedding. Both behind the walls of Indiana State Prison.
I told him we wanted to get married October 7th.
That'll work. October the 7th.
The high walls and razor wire that surround a maximum security prison leave no doubt that this is a place where you pay your dues for terrible decisions. But even in these stark environments, inmates will still find ways to celebrate life's milestones.
We've covered all kinds of events in prison, from an inmate's birthday to an anniversary to a wedding, even a funeral. And nothing symbolizes the futility of committing a major crime more than seeing an inmate die in prison.
During our extended stay shoot at Indiana State Prison, we were told a memorial service was being held for an 81-year-old inmate who had been at the prison since 1979. When we arrived, we realized it was someone we knew. We met Willard Lucas inside the prison barbershop when we shot at Indiana State a few years earlier. He was in for murder and had no hope of getting out.
I got double life, and I got to stay here till I die. And hopefully I can stay right where I'm at. I've been on this chair 26 years. Hopefully I won't be there another 26. But there's a lot of us in here doing multiple life that won't never get out. And I'm one of them.
We came to find out that inmate barbers here are not unlike small-town barbers. They're popular and well-liked. They even cut staff's hair. So when Lucas died during the course of our second visit to ISP, It was no surprise that his memorial was attended not only by his family and fellow inmates, but a significant number of staff.
He was a good guy, a real good guy, and I miss him. Every day when he used to come back from the chow line, he'd knock on my window and say, "Hey, what are you doing? What's up?" Or I'd F with him or whatever, you know. I mean, he was just a good guy.
The death of our brother Luke recalls our human condition and the brevity of our lives on earth.
Even though they were on opposite sides of the law, they still had a decades-old relationship.
I knew Luke for 30 years, and I loved him. He was a good guy.
Anytime that Wayne Lucas opened his mouth to tell a story, I made sure I had time to listen to it.
We spent many, many hours playing pinochle, watching baseball games, and I'd come in from work and be tired, and I feel like making something to eat, and there come Luke, and he'd say, "You got some bread?" And sure enough, he'd have some gravy made. Him and his gravy. Oh, he could make some gravy.
He'd sit and talk with me for hours on hours.
He would always try to keep me out of trouble. You know, keep on that straight and narrow.
You meant an awful lot to me.
Lucas, I'm gonna miss you.
On the other end of the spectrum, our stay at Indiana State also included a wedding.
This is my girlfriend, Jody.
When we met inmate Ronnie Tye, serving 11 years for burglary, he was looking forward to making a lifetime commitment to Jody Warman.
Tell me a little bit about the engagement. How did it happen? How did he ask you?
He didn't ask me. I asked him. He told me that one day he told me, he said, I would just, whatever I have, if you need it, I'd give it to you. And I said, can I have your last name? And he said, yes, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I got his name on my leg. You want to see it?
Although Ronnie had less than a year to complete on his sentence, the couple couldn't wait to get married and put in a request for a prison wedding.
I told him we wanted to get married October 7th.
That'll work. October the 7th.
You're going to be a good boy. Promise. Say promise.
Being good in prison has not always been Ronnie's strongest quality.
Yeah, I got about 100 write-ups. Might be over that. Been caught tattooing, smoking weed, drinking, fighting. Got locked up for a robbery inside of here.
He kind of had a bully type attitude.
What are you guys waiting for, man?
And it was clear he wanted to be on the show. He wanted to do it, but at every turn he was resistant. There was one point where I went into his cell to get some we call B-roll of him interacting with his brother, and he was asking me, "Are you done yet? You know, why do you need this? Why do you need that?"
You're all right. I'm just getting you two together.
I don't know if part of it was that we were encroaching on whatever he was doing at the prison, or if that was just the persona he was trying to project.
I don't care if you like me or you dislike me. I ain't come here for friends.
During our time at the prison, things began to heat up for Ronnie. He was caught with a cell phone charger and later voluntarily turned in a cell phone. Prison officials nearly canceled the wedding, but agreed to let it move forward with one major restriction. It would have to be a non-contact ceremony, meaning bride and groom would be separated by a thick pane of glass. A not-so-minor detail for Jody.
So there is no, like, kissing the bride?
When the day comes, we will see.
For Jody, hearing that she would have a non-contact wedding, it was like the sky had fallen. She was crying. She was upset that she wouldn't be able to, hold him. This was her day in the sun, and the prison was ruining it.
Don't cry. Jeremy, everything's gonna be all right.
Up next.
In most cases, the men are just using the women.
On the big day, the pastor is skeptical and the bride's a nervous wreck.
Oh, I'm freaking out.
During our extended stay at Indiana State Prison, inmate Ronnie Ty was scheduled to marry his fiancée, Jody Warman.
We wish you luck. Round up.
Ronnie's various disciplinary write-ups resulted in a non-contact ceremony, meaning bride and groom would be separated by a pane of glass. But that didn't deter the couple, and we were there to cover the wedding.
How are you feeling right now?
Pretty good.
As Ronnie made his way to the non-contact visitation area, the bride was in the restroom, suffering a major case of the jitters.
I said I'm freaking out. Why? Because I'm gonna be married in an hour.
Filming Jody right before she got married in the prison was a surreal experience. Honestly, in a million years, I never thought I would see myself in this situation.
And this is how you decided to show it? I'm sitting on the toilet in Indiana State Prison, fully clothed, of course, but I'm just dripping.
It's actually very funny. I mean, she's, kind of standing up and squatting on the toilet seat in the restroom and kind of losing it.
I'm chewing on acrylic fingernails. Let me see.
I didn't even feel like I was at work that day. I mean, here's this girl dressed head to toe in this disco outfit, ready to tie the knot.
Which shoes? Oh, my shoes are over here. I haven't been this nervous since, we won't even say. I'm freaking nervous.
She was a mile a minute.
My hair look okay? It's good.
She was nervous and excited and, not very different from a bride-to-be on the outside.
You sure I look okay? Yeah, beautiful.
Jody pulled herself together in time to meet the pastor who had arrived to perform the ceremony.
There was actually no relationship between Jody and the pastor.
Jody, how long have you known Rodney?
Ronnie.
Ronnie.
I've known him for many years. Long time.
Before he came here?
Yes.
Were you in love with him then?
I wouldn't say in love with him, but I loved him.
This is not just a contract you're signing.
I understand that. It's a covenant.
It is a covenant that you're making with him, and this makes it much, much more serious.
There are certain people that are allowed to come into the prison to perform these wedding ceremonies. He was one of them. They didn't know each other ahead of time. He was obviously trying to counsel her.
He'll have this black mark against him.
I know that. I already know. I mean, I've known people that's coming out of prison and some even being family, and they aren't. It's hard. The hardest thing I think I've seen is jobs. People don't want to employ them.
Right. Normally, I just flat turn down weddings here because I find in most cases the men are just using the women for their own advantage.
I've heard stories.
You've heard stories?
I've heard stories. I'm aware of all the ups and downs, and I'm prepared to help him adapt back to society. I realize it's going to be some trouble for him. For the record, I took a psychology class. I think I can handle it. Had an awesome instructor, yeah. I think I can handle it.
How does the rest of the family feel about the wedding?
They're okay. His mom was going to be here today, but couldn't make it. He's got a good family.
As Jody spoke with the pastor, Ronnie had arrived on his side of the glass, awaiting his bride and maintaining his cool.
Why should I be nervous?
Big deal. It's a commitment. It's forever. What are you doing about a ring? Tell me. What do you know about your rings?
She's got both of them. Rings?
And how do you get it? Do you know?
I have no clue.
Tell me what you do know about this non-contact wedding.
Gonna get married through this window, I guess. Through glass.
Where do I go? How you doing?
You ready?
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you nervous?
And when it was finally time to exchange vows, the ceremony proved as unique as the couple themselves.
This is the pastor. This is Pastor Rawson.
Good to meet you, Ronnie.
You too.
You ready for the big day?
Let's do it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. We are gathered together here in this presence of God in the face of this company to join together this man and this woman in holy matrimony.
You know, they're talking on the phone, doing their vows over the phone. It was kind of bizarre.
What's up? This is driving me nuts.
Ronnie, will you have this woman to thy wedded wife to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony, honor and keep her in sickness and in health, so long as you both shall live? And
Yes.
he answers, I will. Jody, will you have this man to thy wedded husband to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony, so long as you both shall live?
Yes. I will.
Do you have rings you wish to exchange?
Somebody's got to walk into it.
You'll take the ring.
Ronnie and Jody have promised to be faithful and true to each other. I've announced them husband and wife. Okay, you two can kiss the glass. That's about as best you can do.
Nah, they don't watch that around here. Yep, we're done. We're married. The honeymoon is going to be awesome when he gets home. But that's definitely when he gets home.
Married.
Coming up,
I'm gonna catch everyone he can.
the one part of the prison population determined to keep coming back. There's a certain storyline that develops at many of the prisons we visited that we have difficulty ignoring. It's the relationship between inmates and cats. Sometimes they're strays that roam prison grounds and bond with inmates, and other times they're part of a sanctioned rescue program, like the one at Indiana State Prison.
Introduce me to your friend.
This is Cletus. He's 16 months old. They said we can adopt cats from the Humane Society, so I adopted this one.
Benjamin Ritchie was in for a pretty horrendous crime. He's on death row. Death row is a very dark, depressing place. But when he started playing with his cat, Cletus, there's some kind of bonding. There's a display of affection that you would never normally see in a prison environment.
You wouldn't believe what a cat would do. I'm not a cat person to begin with, but I got me one, and, you know, I like the little fella.
It's interesting to see this change in these hardcore, tough inmates whenever they're around their own cats particularly. They just become so much more softened by having this connection with an animal.
He's my buddy. When times are hard, you know, you can snuggle up to you.
Here there's a safe place for these guys to kind of mellow out, have something to love, and embrace something a little bit different than the darkness and pain they're usually surrounded by.
There's a code of sorts with these cats. You do not mess with somebody else's cat. You don't hurt them, you don't look sideways at them. Heaven forbid you spit at one of them. They take their cats that seriously.
Come on. Come on, Dad. Come on.
Minnick and Majestic were a very interesting pair.
We play and everything. When I got him real small, everything. He had a little registration thing, little kitty cat thing. And then you get a little ID with kitty cats on it.
Minnick was extremely bonded with his cat, Mr. Majestic. This cat kind of ruled the roost as far as I was concerned. Minnick painted this cat, fed this cat abundantly from what it looked like, and they seemed to be somewhat symbiotic.
I got him November 2nd, 2006. And he got neutered October 27th, same day I got arrested. So we got something in common.
I think the cat program tames the beast.
Come on. All right.
At the Holman Correctional Facility in Alabama, the cats are even more abundant, but none of them are invited.
At Holman, they're just wild cats who the inmates connect with and start feeding, even though it drives the staff crazy.
I'm gonna catch him cats, TC. I'm gonna catch every one he catches.
There was a sergeant in charge, Sergeant English, whose job it was to try to deal with these feral cats and get them outside the prison. The cats became his nemesis, particularly Fluffy.
It's Fluffy, but I think you're gonna have a little trouble with that one. It's personal between him and her. You know what I'm saying? So it's wit, animal wit, against human man wit. So
I've been trying to catch Fluffy for 6 months. I hadn't caught her yet.
The inmates love the cats, and the cats trust the inmates. And it was just a neat story to see the officers trying to get the cats and the inmates trying to protect the cats. And it just proved to be a really cool story.
Fluffy's had another kitten.
Fluffy seemed to be perpetually breeding more and more kittens.
She finna get him up and run with him now. She finna go. She finna go with him. She gone.
There's no telling where she's carried him to.
Can you get her?
Yeah, you got her now. That's what I'm
She's gone in there now. It's over with now.
Sergeant English liked the cats. He wasn't going to hurt the animals. He was trying to find them homes, but the cats were posing a problem at the prison. They were getting stuck in the fence. They were just creating too many problems. They weren't set up to have a cat program.
This is my cat baby.
You don't want no egg. Tell me you don't want no egg. Tell me you don't want no egg.
So one day we're covering this story, and there were 2 kittens, a brother and sister, and the brother actually reminded me a lot of a cat that I had had for like 15 years. He was really bold. I mean, you can actually see in the footage when they set the trap out, they had the food at the back of the trap, and the cat didn't even hesitate.
There, he caught now. He caught right now.
Get out of here. It's that easy to catch him.
And when Sergeant English closed the trap, he stopped for maybe a second, turned back to the food, and just kept eating the food like it was cool, you know? At that point, I was like, this is a pretty cool cat. Most people would say, oh, it's a stupid cat, but I took it to be like, he was just bold, he didn't care. And so just I kind of threw it out there, hey, if I wanted to take this guy home, what would I have to do?
Our cameraman, Brian, ended up adopting this little kitten.
They were like, oh, that would be great, you know, just go down to the vet, get the shots, and get yourself a carrier that you can carry on the plane, and you got yourself a cat.
And we had to take him back through the airport, which was kind of comical, because he didn't want to traumatize the cat any further. You know, it was born in a prison. So I actually ended up taking the kitten out of the little carry-on case and walking through the security system with it.
Didn't make a sound the entire flight, just chilled out, relaxed, and turned out to be a great cat.
One of them kittens went all the way to California.
Yeah,
I believe he might be living better than me and you are.
I know he living better than me. He free.
Yeah, but
on the side of his pen.
Hey, I bet he's in an air-conditioned house. What you gonna bet?
I don't gonna doubt that.
The cat has had the life of Riley ever since. I mean, this cat has an amazing life. And we would hear periodically from some of the inmates and staff, always asking about the cat. And I believe Brian named this kitten Doc for Department of Corrections.
Doc is great. He's still very bold. He's a mouser. I mean, like an incredible mouser. Usually a few times a week, he'll bring in mice from outside or rats from outside. And we live near the mountains, so there's quite a bit of wildlife. And he'll bring us a trophy, you know, pretty much a couple times a week.